Hey guys, Leash here. Just hanging out. It's Melbourne Cup Day. For those of you who it probably doesn't mean much to many of you, which is fine. But we've got the Fascinator happening, we've got a bit of a cup sweep happening in the office between James and I. Not really. Still find it hilarious that we celebrate horse racing as we do the race that stops the nation. So I was thinking today about, on this fabulous Melbourne Cup, I was thinking about when I was very first, I had a treatment room after I'd moved out of the chiropractic clinic, had a treatment room, which was great. We called it Camp Krusty. It was it was like underneath a flat, and it was great. Little rabbit warren to get in there. But it was on flat ground, and it was like $250 a month, which is crazy chickens. Anyway, I got notice that I needed to move out of there, and at that point I think I had 5 staff working out of the one treatment room. So we had grown and we'd expanded since I think I've been there 4 years or something like that. And it was time to kind of move on, and I was like, right, let's do this. So we went, and I was looking around Ocean Grove for somewhere else to rent. And, it was crazy because I'm like, far out, there is so much that we need to, it's so much money, like $200 a month is nothing, a couple $100 a month is nothing. And then to go into a commercial place was like far out, and not everybody wants to do this or will need to do this at some point in their career, but lots of people will get to a place where they're like, I actually need to know what to do here. And I thought, I'm just going to share with you some of the biggest learnings that we had, some great learnings and some ways that I wish I'd do it differently. I think one of the things was going from tripling our space meant that we were more than tripling our expenses. At the old place, I just had to pay rent. That was about it. I think, and we paid outgoings as well. But at the new place, in a commercial rent, you actually have to pay insurance on the building, you've got to pay rates, and you've got to pay for rubbish removal, and you've got to pay for water. None of which you would have, because I'd only ever really experienced a residential lease. Now, the other incredible thing that I've since learned is that you can actually negotiate a bunch of things in a commercial lease. And there are people out there that can help you negotiate in a commercial way. It's awesome to be able to have them on your team, helping you in that negotiation phase. So we like I said, we tripled the space and also tripled the rent. Not quite so fun. And so that was challenging sometimes to actually get get things happening, which meant that although yes, we had the space to kind of triple our income, which we eventually did, it also meant that I didn't actually pay myself in the first 12 months. So for the first 12 months in the clinic, I didn't get paid because all the stuff that I was actually earning was going towards paying the rent and the bills and all the extra expenses that I wasn't prepared for. And so, just knowing that if you're going to move into a commercial space, that there's going to be times when you won't get paid because you're going to have to be able to grow your business. The other thing that I had to learn, so there was a couple of big learnings that I had, which was having to negotiate. I was able to negotiate 50% rent for the first 6 weeks, which was great. Hey, Narelle, great to see you on here. So that was awesome, was able to negotiate rent a little bit cheaper for the first 6 weeks. But after that, it was basically I had to pay for everything. So it was I was on my own, and it was a little bit daunting, like I'd never done this before. I'd rented a room before and it was fine. It was all pretty easy. So the other thing that we did at the clinic to fit it out because it wasn't fitted out, was actually we got a loan. So I took out a personal loan to be able to fit the clinic out, which meant we could get signage. It meant that each of the treatment rooms looked gorgeous. We did it all on a shoestring, but we still actually had the money there to be able to get one extra room fitted out and just make the clinic look like a clinic, because it actually had been a video shop. We were technically in the family section, for those of us who've been in Ocean Grove a long time. We're out the back where the family section would have been. So we obviously had to put in a treatment room, and we had to most of it was already there. There was a bunch of stuff that was already there, but there was a few things that we needed to do, as well as get things like reception desks and shelving and CD players and all that kind of stuff. So there was quite a bit of stuff that we actually did to fit it out. And I think one of the biggest learnings that I have, and certainly something that we talk to our clients about now, is actually having what we call a war chest. So making sure that you have some money set aside that can help you to grow and to be able to invest in your business, so that you're not sitting there stressing going, oh my gosh, where is the next bit of money coming from? So looking at what kind of money would you need to have set aside so that you could potentially pay yourself for the few months while things are being set up, or being able to invest in the business so that you can grow it and get on top of things a bit quicker. And I think for me, that's the biggest learning that I had, that I hadn't really thought that through. And so we didn't have any kind of extra reserve cash just lying around, like for, incidentals that might have occurred. So I reckon, getting a personal loan for us was a great idea, because it meant that we had everything just done and we walked in. I mean, I took a week between one premises and the next. In that week, I repainted the clinic with the help of a very good friend of mine and my mum. They were 6-meter ceilings, and it was all unsealed brick. I still hate painting bricks up until this point, but it was a much cheaper option than getting somebody else in to do it. So I just spent the week painting at the clinic. It meant I got to know the clinic extraordinarily well. We had a gorgeous couple of feature walls, and some really beautiful signage that went up. I was always really proud of it, really happy with it. So having that so that it was just done was great. But that kind of, in between that 1 week to the next, some people choose not to get a loan, and they might take 6 weeks or 8 weeks to actually fit out the clinic, which is absolutely fine as well. But it's just a matter of being really intentional with knowing exactly what your steps are and what your obligations are. Commercial leases are very, very different to residential leases. You normally do them in 3 or 5 year lots. So you might sign a 3x3x3 or a 5x5x5, which means that you get the option to say, no, I'm done, or the option to stay on after 5 years, unless something else has gone on in the meantime. So biggest learnings, I would say for me, would be have a war chest set aside so you've got some money there so you can pay yourself. Number 2, don't be afraid to get a loan, a personal loan, to be able to fit your clinic out so that everything is just good to go and you're there just then focusing on the business side of things. Learn how to negotiate really, really effectively so that you can get heaps of really amazing perks and benefits, because everything in a commercial lease is negotiable. If you're not comfortable with that, find someone who can. And there are people that actually do commercial leasing negotiation for you on your behalf. And I know we've had a couple of clients work with somebody that we know, and they have saved literally thousands of dollars over their 5 or 10 years that they've actually signed in for. As far as fit out costs go, free rent, everything is negotiable. So make sure your negotiation skills are on point, and just do the maths, do the sums, know how long it's going to take you to actually recoup any lost funds, and that you're okay with it. And yeah, if you're looking at it, it basically comes down to the numbers. Do you like the premises? Is it worth it? Can you buy it? Is the option to buy there? We know some clients that have leased to buy, so they're like, can I lease it for the first 12 months, get some few things in order, get some cash flow up, and then I'll actually buy the building. Often that's a great option as well if that's something you can do. It's a great way of kind of a long-term investment, or you can also purchase property as part of your super, but talk to your accountants and your legal and finance team about that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's just some options, and if you're looking at it, you basically want to look at the numbers and go, right, how much is this going to cost me? How many treatments is that per week? How long do I think it'll take me to grow to that? And then that is how you make your decision based on the numbers, and go from there. Any questions, post them below, guys. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you in the next video.